Good morning, welcome to subramani.com. Please click on the bell icon, come back for more, and please share this with your friends. So, today I'm doing a small talk on the mistakes I see business people make while doing their financial planning. They don't do financial planning, I'm saying, but largely the observation about businessmen and personal finance. So let me try enumerating the do's and don'ts. Both are there. I see them doing some of the things which I'll tell you, and then you decide whether it's a do or a don't. That's okay. So first, don't manipulate your children into coming into your business. Many of those children don't want to come, and many of the older people who have to hand over the business don't hand it over so well. So if you are just 52, 53 when your son turns 22, which is normally the age, or you want him to come to your business, then you start treating him like an errand boy. You tell him do this, do that, and you almost manipulate him into becoming your clone. Don't do this. Like, if you really want your son to take over your business, put him for 2-3 years into somebody else's business. Let him go and learn some other business. That's okay. You are in the steel business, let him go into the cloth business. Doesn't matter. But let him go there and work as an employee, and then maybe at 25, 26 he can come back to you. Please do that. Don't take him and I don't see parents being responsible towards development of their children from a business point of view. You cannot get them into your business directly if they don't know how to run a business. You cannot teach them, you have no coaching skills, so don't do that. Second, don't mix your personal finance and your business finance, and that's a big mess if you don't clear it properly. Apart from accounting and income tax problems which you will have, you yourself will not realize whether you are really profitable. So whether you are earning money on every transaction, whether you should have earned 5 lakhs in one transaction, you have earned only 4 lakhs, or things like that. Costing, cash flow, you need to understand. If you don't understand, there are enough courses available on places like Udemy and Coursera. Go and learn. Sit with your accountant. I'm sure you have a chartered accountant. Sit with him, spend time, learn these. These are basics. And you see a lot of costing mistakes which are made by business people, and therefore they make losses. Collection problem. They're not able to collect the money, right? A very good advice is to go and find yourself a personal financial advisor, but don't be in a hurry. Take a longish time to do it. Sit with him, talk to him, meet 4-5 people, get references, check out whether he is doing a personal financial advice for business people. Does he have that understanding? Does he have the depth? Does he have, say, 10-15 years experience? What has he done in the past? Check all that. Take tremendous amount of time before recruiting or before signing up. Once you sign up, verify what he is doing, and after maybe 6-8 months or a year, start trusting him. Once you trust him completely. Don't trust halfway. Don't say he has done it, but I don't know, I will cross check. Then the purpose is lost. Then it's not a good relationship. When you meet a financial advisor, make sure you open a liquid mutual fund, because not every financial advisor would advise you with a liquid mutual fund. A liquid mutual fund is where you keep your emergency money, where you keep requirement for your business. Any of those things should be in a liquid fund. A liquid fund is like your bank deposit. It's slightly riskier, but I wouldn't put too much risk on a liquid fund. So liquid fund is fine. It's like a bank deposit, but it defers your tax. You don't have to pay. We can do a separate video on that. So therefore, the first thing you will have is a liquid fund. You will also have some kind of an ultra short bond fund, which is normally not risky, but I think I'm talking at a time when one ultra short bond fund has delayed payments. And open a retirement account. What is the advantage? Suddenly your eyes open and you say, oh, I need to retire too, because by the time you've achieved some of these things in life and you look for an IFA, I'm sure you're past 35. Even if you're 28 and you're doing this, great, fantastic, but open a retirement account. I'm talking of one account which you designate as retirement. It need not have the word retirement in its name. So you tell your IFA, I want one retirement account. You decide what monies, which fund, and that whole dabba is called the retirement box. I will put into fund A, fund B, fund C, which can all be equity because you are young, or it can still be debt if you're starting late, right? So you can have equity and debt, or you can have pure equity, because if your retirement is 30 years away, there's absolutely no need to do any asset allocation now for your retirement. You may still need to do asset allocation for your children's education, or if your daughter is 15 years of age, you're going to require the money in 3 years and maybe 5 years. So you want to pay for her education. That money should not be in equity, but your long-term money, which is your retirement money, has to be in equity. So get your financial advisor, get a financial plan, and open these 3 accounts, right? A liquid fund, an ultra short, and a retirement. Take adequate insurance cover. Take adequate medical cover, take adequate term insurance cover. Businessmen tend to ignore it, and I don't know from where people have got this feeling that they've got a 1 crore cover. I'm not talking of how much of insurance you need. That I've done a separate video earlier. Go and look at that. It should do a lot of things for you. So make sure it does all that. 1 crore used to be a big amount in 2002. It is no longer a big amount in 2020. Inflation has made sure that today maybe you need 3 crores, maybe you need 4 crores. Or maybe if you're from a rich family, your wife is also earning very well. Maybe you don't need any insurance. So I am not giving you the number, I am not giving you a formula, but go and check out how it works and understand and take adequate insurance for medical and for term insurance. Take these 2 things to start with. Get a good accountant and start keeping accounts separately for business and for your personal finance. Let me see. Diversify your investment. I find businessmen not diversifying. They'll put all their money in their own business and say, oh, I'm getting 20% return. My own money also, I give it to the business. I actually charge the business 14-15%, whereas I pay the bank only 9%, so that extra money I'm making. All this sounds good. It sounds fantastic. In fact, but when you don't do asset allocation, especially as a businessman, when something goes wrong, you have no place to hide. So you need to have other investments, which means you should have your mutual funds, which are enough so that if your business were to shut down for 6 months, for whatever reason, you should have some other place from where you can draw the money. But most businessmen don't understand that, so their businesses, their capital is there, their mother's money would be there, their father's money would be there, their brother's money would be there, because they find it cheaper to borrow from friends and relatives than from banks. That's all fine, but what is your liquidity wall? If you have a liquidity problem, where do you go? That's why that liquid account, and also start investing in equities, etc. Whatever you can spare. If you can spare 50,000 a month, that's great. If you can spare 5 lakhs a month, that's great. But create a diversified portfolio. The cost of not diversifying is very high, and it also feels odd that you have put money in an equity fund which is giving you a minus 2% return, whereas you're paying say 12% to outside people. It doesn't matter. Separate the two. Separate the business and separate the personal finance. You need to create a personal finance capital outside your business, right? Put your financial services team in place. You need a financial advisor, you need a chartered accountant, you need a lawyer, right? You need all the 3. You have a team, and see what work you're getting from each person. Because, for example, for writing a will, you think you need only the lawyer, correct? He'll draw the will. No, but the lawyer does not understand all your assets. He does not understand that you are paying money to your dad's sister who's alone and doesn't have the financial ability. So when you make your will, you have to create an annuity for her. What happens if you die tonight? Somebody has to pay her. You have to tell your wife you have to pay, and you have to put that in a separate piece. You have to make your will, right? So this your IFA will tell you, or your chartered accountant will tell you. So you need your team together while a simple thing like making a will, right? So get into all that. Get very clear about your personal finance and not mixing it with business finance. it is always nice to keep your expenses low, especially when you are in business. And that naturally happens. When a person earns 1 rupee in service, he is happy to spend 90 paise because he is very confident that next month he is going to get that 1 rupee again. Whereas a businessman will not spend more than 30 paise because he thinks, this month I've got, I have no clue whether I'll get it next month. So be careful about what you're spending. But normally I find businessmen are little more sensible in their spending than people in service. But there are different cases. So I would not get a proper budget. Can you imagine somebody running a company like Unilever or Indian Oil or any of those, HDFC Bank? Can you think for a minute that such a company is run without a budget? The answer is no. If you are a businessman and one day aspiring to become like those companies, you need to have a budget. When should you start making the budget? It is today. Get your personal budget, get your financial budget for your business in place and start following them. It will be ridiculous to make a plan and find it has gone completely wrong. You might go completely wrong in sales, you might go completely wrong in expenses, but at least it's a very good learning, because when we define budgetary control, we say budgetary control is to take the data, to compare the original, compare the projected with the actuals, so as to form a revised budget, okay, or a basis for correcting your original. Maybe you made a mistake, right? So, but at least you know what you're planning and what you're doing and what is the connection between the two. Don't work without a budget and think, oh, this is what I thought will happen. No, that means it's wrong. If you are not doing as per your budget, it means what you thought in the month of April was different from what is happening in the month of November, right? But if you don't make a budget, you think, oh, that's what I thought. Not true. You write a budget, you know that you're thinking wrong, you made a mistake, you don't know who's your best client, right? Track your credit card expenses, your rating score. That is going to become more and more crucial in India, whether you want a home loan, whether you want to take a house on rent, whether you want to take an office on rent. Credit card score is going to become very important. We will do videos on credit card score separately. Thank you.